Hello, I'm Brita, Web Mistress of the Dark. Today I'm going to show you how to make my violent vertebrae, which are tortilla-style cream cheese roll-ups arranged in the shape of a spine, including cheese discs between the vertebrae. Instead of tortillas, which give you round edges you have to trim off, I like using this rectangular lavash bread, just because there's less waste that way. It's also a little bit thicker than most tortillas, which gives some more body to make the wrap thick enough to look like a vertebrae. So you can use any filling you like. You can use cream cheese plus your own added bits and pieces, cream cheese plain, maybe a little bit of flavoring added to it. There's plenty of cream cheese based spreads these days. This one is a spinach and artichoke dip, which I think is quite tasty. So all you do is spread this on the bread and then roll it up. It's really easy. So just take your cheese mixture, spread it on, get it all the way to the edges. You don't need a super thick layer. You just need enough to give some flavor and to make the bread stick to itself when it rolls up. This is a good task for people who say they're not creative and want to help you prep your Halloween party. So since you know there's not going to be much waste because the rectangle will get all the way to the edges, so you can use even the end pieces. You notice I already started on a piece of foil. That's going to help me roll it up. So I'm going to start to roll it up. Just start from one end, fold it in a bit, start rolling, make sure it makes contact with the cheese so it all sticks together, otherwise it'll fall apart after you've sliced them. And there you have the beginnings of a spine. Now put that seam side down, take the foil and roll it up tightly and seal up the ends. So when this goes in the fridge, it will hold its shape, it will chill in shape of the log here, and we won't get any fridge odors since it's been closed up. That's going to go in the fridge to chill. And now, since I know this is the right size, I'm going to go ahead and cut the cheese discs. This roll-up size is about perfect size of my tea diffuser, half of the ball there, so I can use this as a cutter for the cheese discs. Now I like using Colby cheese because it has a mixture of color of cheddar color and white cheese. If you use all white cheese, you can, but that's a bit too close to the color of the roll-ups, and so you're not going to see the difference between the discs between the vertebrae slices. So just go ahead and cut cheese discs, set them over onto the side, keep cutting and cutting, and when you have enough of the discs, go ahead and put them for safekeeping in plastic and put it back in the fridge. Now we just need to wait for the vertebrae to chill. So now all of the cheese discs have been cut and stored in plastic wrap in the fridge, and all of our logs of lavash bread and cream cheese mixture have chilled well enough that we can cut them into the vertebrae slices. So I've unwrapped the other two already. It's really simple, just take it out of the foil. And make sure you cut them all when they're still chilled enough that they will hold their shape. Now, not everyone's lucky enough to have the family heirloom spine that my great-grandparents, the chiropractors, had in their office, but it's here as a good example. You can see how the discs line up in between the vertebrae, and the vertebrae are long, not very thin slices. They're actually fairly chunky slices, and of course they get a little smaller as they go up to the neck. My problem is I always want to cut them too short, and then I end up with it not looking like a spine. So if you very carefully, with a good serrated blade, go all the way across, you can make much shorter work of this. If you end up squishing them a little bit, you can mush them back into shape when you set them down on the tray. Make sure you do this while it's still cold enough that they'll still hold their shape and be easier to cut, otherwise they'll smush a lot easier. if you judge it right, not all of them the same length, so you can vary it as long while you're cutting the log. And with those nice flat edges, you can actually use all the way up to the edge. Okay, now it's time to arrange into the spine. For arranging the platter, I start with a bed of red-edged leaf lettuce. I like how the variegation in the leaf lettuce makes it look a little bit more eerie. Then, since I have a spine, I lay that down first, giving it a nice curvature. And then I flank on either side with more vertebrae. Now, if you don't have a spine to use in your display, you can just arrange, as long as you get the curvature, people are going to get the idea when you have these discs and the slices between. So, I'm going to start with these thicker ones toward the back here, and you just line it up. If it's a little smushed, round it back into shape, put that one there, stick a disc, smush it so it's round, nestle the disc in between, keep on going. It's easiest if you take from the same roll to go along because you know they'll line up. And this is a pretty easy display. You just stick them in between like that. If they don't want to sit next to each other, that's okay. When you get more in there, they will. Just shove them together when you get there. Now I'm going to keep going on the bottom one and show you how it looks. So just continue laying out your vertebrae along the curvature of a spine, whether you have a spine model in the middle or not. Smush them back into shape if they've become deformed from cutting. Stick the cheese disc in between and keep on stacking. Oops. I make sure always to put the seam down on the platter so you don't see it, and it helps keep them rolled up. Sometimes the lettuce is a bit bumpy, so you have to get enough together for them to hold each other up. So I have to tell you, I thought of this idea when I had been in a car accident, was going to the chiropractor 3 days a week, and it was getting to be near Halloween time. As I was sitting in his office waiting for him to come in, I saw the poster of the human spine and how all the nerves react on his wall and thought, hey, those tortilla roll-ups could look like a spine. So you know, ideas can come from anywhere, and even in a horrible situation, because I was in pain, but I still thought of a fun idea that's actually pretty darn easy. Put the last couple ones in place. If it starts to look too much like a line, kind of force them into a curve, because if they're just a line, they're not going to really look like a spine. No one's back is perfectly straight, but as long as you have them in a curve, then people will say, oh, I see what you did there. Voila! Violent vertebrae. Delicious and pretty darn easy. I hope you've enjoyed watching today. For more recipes and projects like this, you can buy my book, Enhanced Eerie Elegance. Happy haunting!